Guys, welcome to a new video. This is going to be about risk taking. Okay, and in this series that we're talking about goal achieving, personal development, mindset stuff. I wanted to take a video and continue with the course and talk to you about risk taking. I made here. I wrote a few sentences or a few ideas I wanted to make sure to talk about them because it's a change of perspective, which is important. It's important if you're trying to, you know, if you're trying to level up, like for real, people don't understand this subject of risk properly. People are trying to avoid risk. People have been trained since they were children to play it safe. People have been trained to, you know, to just play it super safe, not to get in trouble, um, not to get out from the crowd. Uh, Stay within the lines that school has designed for you. Do what the teacher says at all time, and just you know stick to your lane. And this is what you. And if you're trying to do something creative, or you're trying to look out the window in your class, like you can't do that. No, you can't do that. And if you're trying to, if you see, like, I don't know, you see something that you want as a child, and you ask your dad or your mom, hey, I would like to have this. I would love to have this. They would say, no, you can't do that. Why are you asking for that? We're barely getting by and stuff. These things cost money. These things cost money. You can't have that. You know, I mean, this is why most of us grow up with this um, negative attitude towards risk taking, because we heard you can't do stuff for too long, and we heard that it's better to be safe than sorry, and we heard all this kind of nonsense from your parents, from your grandparents. Do you know what I mean? And this is why you can't take risks. Like, your attitude towards risk is very negative. Like, you don't like it. You think it's something bad. We talked about the terror barrier in the previous video, and you understood what happens into your system. What does your old how does your old program react when you're about to get out of your comfort zone and face some things that and do some things that you haven't done in the past. But your attitude as a whole towards risk, it has to be different. Risk is part of life. I remember a story came to my head, and I remember when I was young, my um, um, I asked one time my family to buy me like some shoes, and they cost like 600 dirhams, something like that. At that time, I'm talking about years ago, right? So for my family at that time, and my mom, my dad was away working abroad, and they were kind of struggling with money because they were paying some what do you call it, uh, mortgage, mortgage, yeah, mortgage. They were paying this house mortgage somewhere, and money was tight. And I still remember to the day. I really like, I saw this shoe, okay, sneakers. We call them sneakers here, like shoes. They were Nike, like real nice. They just came out so fancy at that time. And I saw some guy, a neighbor, some kid in my age. He had them, and I was like, oh my god, I love them and all that. So I came home and I said, Mom, I want this. I want this. I was just so super excited about the idea. I want those shoes. That's all. I want them. Okay. And I was received with, we can't. I was received with, no, we can't. You need to understand that we can't, because money's tight, and we're not going to spend this much money on this insignificant thing. Okay. In my mom's head, that made a lot of sense, because money's tight. Okay, if we're gonna spend money, we're gonna spend it on important stuff. We're not gonna spend that much money on some shoes that you're gonna destroy at school. But that's not the important part. The important part is that she told me I can't. She programmed me with the idea that if I desire something, um, sometimes I can't get it, or it's just whatever I desire, whatever I want dearly, I want to get, I can't get it. I was That was a negative programming. That was a negative conditioning that my family, my mom gave me in that moment. Okay, if they had a better awareness, they would told me, okay, that's fine. It's great that you want that. It's great. Let's figure it out. Money is tight at the moment. Probably we're not going to be able to buy this month, but maybe think about ways where you can maybe earn money, maybe do some, I don't know, something, figure out something, go work for somebody, I don't know, sell something, I don't know, figure it out. And maybe you can buy them. She didn't have to tell me I can't. And she didn't have to spend the money that she didn't have either. Okay? But the idea of I can't is destructive. Don't do that with your children. So we've heard I can't a lot. We've heard stay safe. Sorry. We've heard it's better to be safe than sorry. So when it comes to risk taking, when it comes to investing in yourself, go in and talk to that woman that you like. Maybe she's gonna end up being your wife. Go talk with that guy. Maybe he's gonna be your next boss, and he's gonna open opportunities for you. Go join that club. Go join that class. Invest, buy this course or whatever it is. It has to be a natural part of your journey to just take risks. Any move you're gonna make, it involves risk. You want to talk to that woman, to that girl, well, you're risking being rejected. Okay, you want to go trying to join a club and become part of that group of people that seem to be interested, healthy, they're doing stuff, they're doing sports, they're growing, or maybe, I don't know, you risk being ridiculed, not accepted, something like that. There is always a risk. Okay, you invest in something, there is a risk that you lose your money. You risk being scammed. Like you wake up today, if you wake up tomorrow, you risk dying. You risk getting, if you go out from your house, you risk getting hit by a car or by a bus or something. The idea that I want you to get is that you cannot avoid risk. You cannot avoid risk. Okay? And the fact is, if you're trying to avoid risk, that's the dumbest thing you can do. As I wrote here, the biggest hazard in life is taking no risk, because you might avoid the pain of losing money or being ridiculed, whatever that's supposed to mean. You risk being in a bad spot for a while. Okay, you risk that pain, living that pain. But if you avoid that pain that comes with risking and not getting what you want, let's say you avoid that, but think about what you actually might get if you succeed at whatever you're trying to accomplish. Think about that. Like you might really put it off. Maybe not the first time, maybe not the second time, but maybe the third time you put it off. And if you are operating with the paradigm, with the idea that I will avoid risk, it's better to be safe than sorry, you don't take risk, you don't risk losing that little money or that, making that move, but actually you are definitely losing the big prize. You're definitely losing living life the way you want to live it. You're 100% losing your chance to get where you want to get. Do you understand? Do you see that? You risk this to get this. You risk nothing, you never get this. You'll never be there. You will never be there. Okay? Yeah, you might avoid pain, but you avoid, like, you lose great. You lose your chance to be great, to live your life on your terms. And I wrote here, failing is part of learning. Actually, a big part of learning. I would say failing in the process, making mistakes, failing. You're really not a failure until you quit. Like if you're trying to do something and you quit because you were met with unfavorable results a certain amount of times and you decide, I'm not going to do this anymore, then you're a quitter. Then you're a failure. But when you fail at it the first time or it doesn't give you the proper result that you wanted, you're not a failure. Okay? You're just testing waters. You're just experiencing. You're just learning. And what I wrote here is that failing is a part It's a big part of learning. It's not a big part of learning. It is learning. There is some stuff that, listen to me, there is stuff that you will never learn unless you actually fail. Let me give you an example. I'm a martial artist. If you've been following me, you know I'm a martial artist. I've been a fighter. I love martial arts. I love fighting. I love sports. So if you do combat sports, you will understand this. Let's say you jump in the ring with somebody, and you fail. You get your ass kicked. You thought you knew how to defend yourself, but you you jump in the ring with that guy, and for 3 minutes he whoops the shit out of you. You're failing at it. You failed at it. Let me tell you something. If you don't get your nose broken, if you don't bleed, you will never learn. There is a part that you need to learn. There's some things you need to learn about yourself, about the game of fighting, that you can never learn unless you get your ass whooped. Unless you get your nose broken and your teeth cracked, you will never learn. There's a part of this science that you will never learn unless you get beaten, unless you get punched, unless you get knocked out. Okay? The person that has endured these micro failures, okay? This is the person that ends up being the strongest person, because he have learned more than you. You're trying to avoid failing. You're trying to avoid being ridiculed. You're trying to avoid being punched. So you never jump to the ring. You never spar with somebody who's better than you. So you never evolve. You never reach your potential. You never reach your potential. I've had my ass whooped multiple times. It's all good. It's part of the learning process. Okay? This is just an example with sports. I think it's very obvious, but it goes it applies to everything in life. It applies to business. It applies to relationships. It applies to what is that? So I said business, relationships. It applies to your advancement, health, whatever, everything. If you are trying to avoid failing, if you don't fail, don't make some mistakes. There's parts of the journey that you will never learn. That's why you will never evolve. You will stay there forever. Okay. Yeah. So I said here, playing safe. Part of the program, I talked about that. And yeah, it's I wrote here, it's not better to stay safe than sorry. Okay, staying safe is a no go. Yeah, when I said that already. So and stop expecting rainy days to come. Like some of us, we've been brought up to think you have to be ready for rainy days. You have to be careful. This might happen. That might happen. This negative scenario might happen. Like you're all the time, you just replay in your head what are the negative scenarios that might happen to you in the future, and you stay stuck. You don't move ahead. You don't invest the money. You don't bet on yourself. I bet on myself multiple times, and I still do that. Do you know what I mean? I came to Marbella with zero, zero, not zero, but a few $1,000s, euros, with a suitcase. Maybe two, whatever. I don't even remember. I came here because I decided to come here. I just wanted to come here. I took a risk. Okay, whatever. I don't know nobody here. I don't have a job. I don't know where I'm gonna live. I'm just gonna come, figure it out. That's it. I came here and I figured it out. I wanted to live here. I wanted to train with the guy that was here. He was considered one of the best in Spain. And I said, I'm gonna train with this guy. I want to train with this guy. So that's it. I packed and I came here. I took a risk. Okay. I took a risk and multiple times. I don't even remember how many risks I take. I don't even count them anymore. Like I just whatever. I see something I like, I go for it. I don't give a shit. I invested myself through different mentors multiple times, and I've put all the money that I've had in learning, in investing in myself, and I've put myself in a position where it does look great because I literally had zero, close to zero, but I understand that risk is part of life. What's the worst is going to happen? What's the worst is going to happen? You'll figure it out. You will find a job. You will find help. you will you will find a solution. If you're aware, if you've been following the course, you understand that you have the capability in you and the potential to find the freaking solution. So what the hell? What are you afraid of? You're afraid of being ridiculed? You're afraid to look bad? It means your self-esteem is low. What the hell you care what anybody thinks? You know what I mean? I don't care what nobody thinks about me. I know who I am. You know? I know me. That's all I need. Okay? So I take risks, and I take big risks because I'm expecting to get bigger rewards. I was gonna swear, but I decided not to swear anymore in my videos. I decide I'm going for bigger rewards. That's why I'm taking big risks. Of course, I'm not risking my life. Of course, I'm not risking um, my well-being. I know I'm gonna be fine. Whatever, you know. So risk taking, guys, just make it part of your life. Just be ready to take risks, calculated risks. Like, don't be completely stupid, but be willing to incorporate risk to your life. If you've never taken any risks, so start working on yourself. Like, go check other videos, start working on developing yourself from all angles, and slowly start introducing risk to your life. Even if it means go say hi to that person that you don't know, whether a guy or a girl. Just go say hi. You see somebody that might look interesting. Hey, how are you? What are you doing here? In the gym. Hi, my name is this. Oh, what exercise is that? Just talk to people. Like, maybe that's a risk for some of you guys, and just slowly start taking bigger risks so it becomes part of you. And when you meet with temporary failure, be happy because you're about to take a great lesson. Okay, endure it, learn from it, and move on. There's stuff that you can't learn unless you go through that adversity. Okay, I hope you understood this subject. I hope you liked the video. Subscribe, share, comment, right? Follow me on IG if you're trying to stay motivated and see what I do every day. I share ideas and motivating content on a daily basis in my IG and my stories. And if there is a subject that you want me to talk about, write down in the comment. Make sure to subscribe. I'm gonna make this channel. My goal is to make this channel one of the most valuable channels online in terms of helping people become stronger, become better, dominating their mind, dominating themselves, so they can create life as they wish and they can live life with purpose and happiness. Okay, as I heard somebody say, and I like this sentence, he said his job was, or his mission was, to help people live bliss here before the hereafter. Okay, anyways, I'm here to help. Subscribe. See you later. Peace.